Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44 here to give you another installment of my playoff prediction series. So, right now, we're going to go with the 76ers and the Washington Wizards. The two set, I think is that the 1-8 matchup? Yeah, the 1-8 matchup in the Eastern Conference. Now, so I don't think there's a whole lot that I can really say about this series. Um, because to be completely honest with you, it's going to be a quick one. I like the Washington Wizards, and the Washington Wizards are playing great basketball right now. Obviously, Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook have found a synergy with one another that is just some of the best chemistry you've seen in the last couple of weeks. Westbrook has done what Westbrook does, gotten back to his old self, getting triple doubles and wowing us with just simply the best statistics our eyes could see. You know what I mean? And they've picked up some players in that Washington team, like a guy like Daniel Gafford, who's just came there and completely made a name for himself, dunking the ball, rebounding the ball, blocking shots, and just being an overall energy presence with a lot of upside. So they have players on their team right now that they didn't have at the beginning of the season that they really, really like. Now, unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, Danny Advija is out for the season with injured something. I don't know what it is. That was their first-round pick. I think they pick him seventh or something like that. A guy that has a lot of upside, but just didn't really fit in the system with Westbrook at all. More so a guy that probably should be given the ball in his hands. Well, either way, he's not out there, so that's that. They got Robin Lopez, who, as you all know, is Brook Lopez's brother. Definitely a fantastic rebounder, or a tough guy. Also somebody who's historically fantastic from the free throw line. That's notable. So they got some guys, they're a team that I think ultimately has overachieved. They're a hell of a story. The Washington Wizards, because they started the season off, again, health and safety protocol crap, missing guys, not being able to really know what's going to happen from moment to moment. Obviously, they had made the trade to acquire Westbrook and traded away their guy, John Wall. That was a big deal. Some people were not so sure about that trade. But ultimately, they won it. They've clearly won the trade. And they've done some good things for their roster. They traded Mo Wagner and ultimately upgraded and got Daniel Gafford. Ultimately upgraded also in that situation and got some other players too. I can't think of the other guy they got from Chicago, Daniel Gafford. And anyway, my mind's gone blank, of course, as usual. But the Wizards, the moral of the story is that Chicago trade really helped them in allowing them to get two players that have overachieved, particularly Gafford, who's made a name for himself and really made the Wizards an exciting team to go along with the rest of their team. And that's the story for them. They got Rui Hachimura, who's a young power forward who's getting better by the second. He's showing everybody that out the gate, even in the midst of having injury issues, he's been a significant piece for their team and definitely somebody with a lot of upside in this league. So you're going to keep an eye on him for sure. And they just continue. Ish Smith is a guy who's just pushing along in this league. He's played for some forgotten type teams, but he's always been productive on every team that he's been on. And this is no exception. He's going to have a chance to have playoff light shined upon him. And I'm looking forward to seeing that because Ish Smith has been a guy that's been unsung in this league for a lot of years. And he's always made himself relevant when given opportunities, but just never seems to be able to sustain those opportunities. That's been the story with him, and he's been in the league for, 10 years, maybe longer than that? I'm looking forward to seeing if he can make a name for himself in these playoffs because he's been playing pretty well over the last couple of games. So that's what it is, man. Obviously, Bradley Beal's one of the best scorers in all of basketball, one of the premier superstars in this league, coveted by every team in the world. And he's playing some of the best basketball of his career right now. And he's going into this playoff series with a superstar next to him who is fearless and ready to go. So when you look at this Washington Wizards team, it's a lot to like. But unfortunately, they're going up against the Philadelphia 76ers. And the reality about the Philadelphia 76ers is this. They got a lot of big humans, huge human beings on the Philadelphia 76ers. And I tell you, I don't care how talented you are, how well you're playing. If you're going up against size, you are at a disadvantage. Period. The game has always been that way. It's going to be that way going forward unless people continue to stretch the three-point arc out to 50 feet and only shoot from out there and make all of them. Other than that, size matters in basketball. And the Philadelphia 76ers are one of the biggest teams in all of basketball right now. And even though Washington Wizards have players that are playing well, they have some bigs, like I said, Gafford and Lopez. They got a couple bigs. What they don't have is enough bigs. They don't have enough bigs. So what does that mean? Well, obviously, Joel Embiid is going to be Joel Embiid no matter who you put in front of him. He's going to eat. This is going to be a legendary series for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he averages 32 points in this series. Because they're not going to have anybody that's going to check him. I love Robin Lopez, but if that's your answer, it's not happening. He's eating, and he's eating a lot. Tobias Harris. Now, Tobias Harris, another big, huge human being. Very capable of dropping 30 on you effortlessly. A guy that's getting better every year. A guy who historically has had some of the best coach to player, player to coach translated on the basketball floor chemistry I've ever seen with Doc Rivers. He and Doc Rivers are a great, great pair. Have been with the Clippers and are now once again with the Philadelphia 76ers. It's a match made in heaven. They should be player coach for the rest of their careers together. That's what I think. That's what I think of Tobias Harris and Doc Rivers. Match made in heaven. He's going to eat, and he's going to eat a lot. Then you got to look at Ben Simmons. Now, Ben Simmons creates the biggest problem for them. Why? Because Ben Simmons is one of the premier defensive players in all of basketball. Ben Simmons plays the point guard position. Ben Simmons can move laterally extremely fast. So what does that do? That gives you a player that you have the option of putting on Westbrook, who's big as him, stronger than him, has a motor that can keep up with his to a degree. I ain't crazy, but to a degree. And ultimately should offset a lot of what Westbrook is able to do. Now, Westbrook's still going to get triple-doubles, but I don't expect Westbrook to get no 30-point triple-doubles, not with Ben Simmons checking him. So it's going to be incumbent upon Doc Rivers to not shy away from that opportunity. Put Ben on him. See what happens there. And then they got a guy like Matisse Thybulle. See, Matisse Thybulle's another guy they can throw at him. Matisse Thybulle's another premier defensive player in all of basketball. So when you put him on anybody, even though on the other end of the floor, you're hopeful that he can score a little bit. Most of the time he does not. But he's one of those Shane Battier guys. One of those premier defensive dudes, Tony Allen, Bruce Bowen. Like, he's this generation's that. And when he's on anybody, that person's going to feel it, period. That's what I think of Matisse Thybulle, one of the premier defensive players in all of basketball as well. So now you're going to see, I made a video maybe about 5 months ago, where I had an epiphany about the Philadelphia 76ers. And I said this: Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle, if you play them all game long, they're going to lock up whoever's on the floor. Like, excluding pretty much nobody. There's not a wing player that those two players, with their ability to defend, shouldn't be able to neutralize together. That's what I think. It could be one of the best double teams ever, honestly. So I know that Matisse is such a liability on the offensive end, excuse me, to where you don't really get the spacing with him on the floor. You can't really trust him at all there yet. But defensively, if you need a stop, I don't think there's a better tandem out there. I don't know that there's a better tandem in the league, honestly. Bron and AD maybe? Like, this is how real that is. And that's not even Joel Embiid. That's two other guys on this team. So it's like Philadelphia, to me, I don't think anybody really sees what they have on paper because of all of the other versatility that they have on the floor. For example, like, they're not going to use Matisse and Ben that way because you got Seth Curry, who's capable of dropping 25, 30 points and not missing a single shot. You definitely want him on the floor. Then you got guys like Tyrese Maxey, who I believe, if he was in the right situation, could have been a Rookie of the Year candidate this year. Unfortunately, he plays for a deep team like Philadelphia that doesn't need him to have a ball in his hands. But he's already literally proven that he has all-star potential. That's already established. All he needs to do is get the hell out of Philly and into the right situation so he can let his wings spread. He's like, in my opinion, like Kevin Porter Jr. Like, you didn't know Kevin Porter Jr. could do this, but in the right situation, he's now able to display it. I think the same about Tyrese Maxey, the exact same thing. Just put him in the right situation. You put Tyrese right now on, I don't know, random team that ain't playing well. The Spurs or something. Put him on the Spurs. He's going off. Put him on put him on Toronto right now. Starting at the shooting guard position, he's going off. Like that's the kind of thing. Like he's a guy where if you just give him a good opportunity, he's off to the races, and he's just sitting on the bench. So yeah, you're not going to see Matisse and Ben Simmons play as much as I would like to see them play together defensively. But that go-to is a winning combination, ladies and gentlemen. That's a championship caliber combination, in my opinion. So I think ultimately this is a sweep. This is a sweep. Maybe Westbrook and Beal can get you one, but this is not one of those series where I have to do too much thinking. It's just way too much size over there in Philly, way too much talent and size. And like I said, Westbrook's going to do what Westbrook does. You're going to see triple-doubles out of him. You're going to see Bradley Beal get 30, 35 points. But unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. Philadelphia is just going to outclass them. I didn't even mention Dwight Howard coming off the bench. We know what Dwight can do. We wouldn't have won that championship last year if it wasn't for Dwight. So, like, ain't even no conversation needed. That's all I need to say about Dwight Howard. I just wish he was a Laker again. You know what I'm saying? So, at this point in time, Philly, they're in the first spot for a reason. They're running into a team that they should knock off. If they handle their business, they should outclass them in just about every way. There's nothing else to say. Philly in 4. My name is BDF44. I'm out.